Welcome to another episode of the Word to Be Heard podcast. My name is Mario Johnson. And on today's episode, I was hoping to have a guest on to discuss a recent poll that she did where she was asking some questions to her male followers, Mikayla P. But unfortunately, due to some scheduling issues, she won't be able to join. But I didn't want to miss this opportunity to continue to at least give my thoughts and my perspective on the questions that she had asked in her poll, and hopefully kind of get some feedback from everyone else on what they think the questions are going to be. So, without further ado, let's jump right in to the first question. When I pull it up over here, you guys won't be able to see it, but I'll just read it out. So the first question that she had asked in her poll was, "Does it matter if your woman works?" And she was asking this to men. Men, does it matter if your woman works? Now, at the time of me looking at the poll, the results were 60% yes, 40% no. Now, that's kind of telling. And I think it for me, it depends on the era in which you were raised. Because of the fact that yes, you want to be in a situation where um, if you guys are both able bodied and working, and there aren't any kids in the relationship as of yet, and as a man you don't want to be taken advantage of. So it in that regard, I guess it would matter, you know if your woman was working. But also too, speaking for myself, I've been in committed relationships, long-term relationships, where we had an agreement that you know she was going through school, and of course, while you're in school, she was in a doctorate program, and it was a pretty intense program which didn't allow her to work. So in that aspect, we had an agreement, to where, hey, I'll take care of everything. You just go ahead, complete your classes, get that 4.0 GPA, and become that doctor that you set out to be. So I think that's one of those situational questions in regards to what the situation entails. Is it a matter of, you know she can work, she just refuses to work? Is it a matter of, some guys have that ego involved to where, I don't want my woman to work at all? For me, and I'm gonna touch on that for just a quick second. For me, I don't like that, because of the fact that, and that's why I said it's more of an ego type thing, because of the fact that it can put you in a position of control. You know, for some guys, and I can only speak as a guy because that's what I am. For some guys, when they have their woman in a position to where you're not going to work, where they don't quote unquote allow her to work, it's so that they can control the situation. They can control the relationship. They for lack of a better way of expressing it, they can kind of control her. And I wouldn't want to, if the shoe was on the other foot, wouldn't want to be in that situation. I wouldn't want somebody holding it over my head, the fact that they're literally taking care of my livelihood, as a I guess as a tool to use against me in a situation where, if I disagree with them, or if I wanted to go do something that didn't include them or anything, if I wanted to make a particular purchase that they didn't deem necessary, I wouldn't want to be held under those types of restrictions, because of the fact that that person is the breadwinner. So that's kind of, like I said, it's that's why I described that question. Does it matter if your woman works, as more kind of like a situational thing? Like I said, if she is capable of working but just refuses to work, then you could be in a dependent situation where she is just kind of using you. That's the best way I can say it. It's an opportunity. And you have to be very careful of those people who look for opportunities, because there are a lot of them out there. They'd rather. Um, I guess some people say they'd rather ride your coattails as opposed to making, turning their own. So that's one situation in which, yes, it would matter to me if my woman worked. But again, going back to the example that I had the first time about, if she's in school, you know, basically doing something to better herself, which kind of requires her not to be able to work, by all means, I wouldn't have an issue with it at all. So that's the first question. You guys let me know what you think about that in the comments. And let's move on to the next question. So the next question that she had on the poll was, And again, all these questions are directed at men. So when I read them, I'm reading them as if I'm reading them for men. So sometimes I say men, sometimes I won't, but I'm just going to read through the actual question. So it says, men, do you want the prettiest woman in the room or the smartest woman in the room? Now the results of that poll was 29% said they wanted the prettiest woman in the room, while the 71% said they wanted the smartest woman in the room. Now, in a ideal utopic situation, you want both. You want the prettiest and the smartest woman in the room, but if it came down to, like in her question, either or, for me, I prefer the smartest woman in the room, because it would go back to the original question of what, it doesn't matter if a woman works. Well, if all she knows how to do is be pretty, if there's nothing inside of that beautiful body of hers, is at that point it's just going to be a dependent situation. She's going to drag you down. It's not going to be where she can put you in the position to succeed, in addition to you putting her in the position to succeed. And she's not going to help you brainstorm. She's not going to help you come up with opportunities that you guys can maybe uh, capitalize on the business situation or anything like that. Her job is to be pretty. Now, you do have some guys who, yeah, they seek out the trophies. Again, that goes back to an ego-based situation where they want the prettiest woman in the room just to be lingering on her arm, just to kind of bring more attention to themselves. Me personally, I would never want to be in that situation. I want the I've always sought out, and thank God I have a beautiful girlfriend now, who is definitely one of the smartest people in the room. But for me, I've always sought out intelligence. Like, intelligence is amazing to me. That's one of the things that I truly um, look for in a woman. As a potential mate, you know, um, and to progress on, because basically everything that I spoke of in the beginning, you know, um, I'm constantly pushing forward. I'm a serial entrepreneur, who still has a 9 to 5, multiple streams of income, all that good stuff. And I don't want to be in a situation where the person next to me can't help me, can't help me think through anything that I'm, any potential new ideas for one of my businesses that I'm trying to, put into fruition. Or if I'm in a situation where, things may not be going so great and I need to, do a couple of pivots here or there, I need to be able to bounce these things off of, the person that I'm with. And as opposed to just getting a blank face or I don't know as a response, she can actually help me think it through. So it was my true answer to that question of, do I want the prettiest woman in the room or the smartest woman in the room? It will always be the smartest woman in the room. All right, now on to her next question, which was on the poll. It said, will you date a woman that your friends aren't physically attracted to? That's a really good question there. And the results of this poll, 88% said yes, they would date a woman that their friends aren't physically attracted to, while only 12% said no. For me, that's more of a maturity. It depends on where you are mentally, your maturity level, because some people need the approval of their peers, their closest peers, the ones who have a major influence on their lives. They value their opinion, and they take it very seriously, while other people, such as myself, now granted, I do value the opinions of my peers, especially my closest friends, and my family. But at the end of the day, I'm the person who's in that relationship with this other person. I'm the person who is going to have this experience, not my friends, not my family. So it doesn't matter if my friends, deem, my woman physically attractive or not. Also, too, why the hell do I want my friends to be physically attracted to my girl? Not to say that you know, they shouldn't be, because obviously if I'm physically attracted to her, there's definitely going to be other men who are physically attracted to her. But at the end of the day, I don't want my friends looking at my girl like, in a way that I look at her, in a physical way. So um, that could be selfish on my part. But again, going back to my initial response to this question, it depends on where you are. What was I want to say? Maybe self confidence. to where you can truly stand by, make your decision, stand behind your decision, and not really base your decision on what other people think. Because at the end of the day, when the other people decide that you should no longer be in that relationship, are you going to leave the relationship? If the relationship's working out great, if everything's going good, are you just going to bail? Because oh man, my homeboy said that things ain't working. I ran a couple of issues by him that we kind of having, and he was like, "Man, you need to get out." Now, I wouldn't take that advice. That would make me question my homeboy. But not to stray too far off the topic. Again, it wouldn't matter to me one way or another if my friends were physically attracted to the person I was with in my 20s. Maybe in my 20s, definitely in my teens, because peer pressure. And you have to learn how to respond to certain types of peer pressure, because your friends are everything, your boys are everything. When you're in high school, everything was based off of your particular circle. But um, today, not even close, not even to mention. Like, if for some reason, one of my closest friends told me, "Hey, man, like, I don't know what you see in that girl. Like, she is not cute. She got a messed up body, whatever, whatever, whatever." I just laugh and be like, "Girl, I'm glad you're not trying to date her." That would kind of be my response to that. All right. So the next question that she had, it was 5 questions that she had on her survey, by the way. The third question is, do you care if your woman is opinionated? Now, for that one, I love this question, mainly because of the fact that I think it's, what do you call it? I think it's one of those setup questions to where there's um, a hidden motive behind that question. Because when you say opinionated, I look at it as, do you care if your woman is capable of thinking for herself and expresses her thoughts, that she's come up with, or do you just want somebody who's going to agree with everything that you do? And for me, no, of course not. Going back to my response to um, question number two, um, I need someone who's capable of, having a great opinion on things, especially things that I'm working on, the people that I may be looking to do business with, everything, because of the fact that I know that I can trust that she's going to give me, her true honest opinion on it. And it's going to come from a well-informed, a well-educated place. Now, in addition to that, outside of that, you know, um, I would also say that opinionated, a woman who's capable of speaking her mind. That's the best way I can talk about that, is a woman who's capable of speaking her mind. I love that. I will always champion that. I will always be attracted to something like that. Again, going back to the fact that I'm attracted to intelligence. So a woman who can speak her mind, A1, beautiful thing for me. Will never not um, want to be involved with someone who's opinionated. Now, let me clarify that too, because of the fact that overly opinionated, meaning that she has an issue with everything, or just someone who's negative and angry, you know, that's a totally different situation. When I, as I've said before, when I speak on being opinionated, I don't take it as she's just mad at the world. She just has something to say about every single little thing, basically nitpicking. No, I take it as she's did a thorough analysis. Be it she's observed the situation, and come up to her conclusion, and she's able to express the way she feels about it. So that's kind of where I am on that. All right, all right, all right, all right. I don't want to spend too much time on that. I like to go down rabbit holes, and I'll think myself. I'm always thinking things through to the 19th, the umpteenth rather degree. So let's go on to the next question. Next question. On her poll, would you say most men care more about the physical than the mental part about a woman? Well, for me, that goes back to the um, I can tie that into the do you care if a woman is opinionated, and it also again goes back to me being physically attracted to intelligence. Of course, I care more about the mental part uh, of a woman, but the results of this poll to the question said, would you would you say most men, these are speaking in general now, most men, not just me, but most men, um, care more about the physical than the mental part of a woman? 75% said yes, 25% said no. As a man, we are very visual. You know, I used to say it all the time, it's your appearance that made me come say yes to you, but it's the conversation that's going to make me want to stay. So initially, yes, we care more about looks. But after we've gotten past that stage, it's all about, at least for an older guy, and again, who's somebody who's not caught up in the ego, it's all about, you know, I don't want to sound cliche, but basically the connection. You know, what is it that what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? It's what is in common. What are the things that we have in common based on the conversation? And all that comes over time. Of course, going back to the very first question, um, you want to have somebody who's physically attractive. You definitely want to be attracted to the person that you're with, but we all find different methods of attraction as the relationship grows. So I would say that initially, it is more about the physical than the mental, but it begins to transition over to being more mental than it is physical. Granted, for me and most men, we don't want for you to just let yourself go as a woman. Just like as a woman, I'm confident you wouldn't want us to let ourselves go, depending upon where we were when we first met. If I was, in shape and took care of myself and was very focused on being healthy when we first met, I would want you to hold me to that exact same standard, well into our relationship, because I'm going to hold you to that exact same standard well into our relationship. So that's my thought on that one. All right. And the very last question. Oh, that is the last question. Oh, okay. So one, two, three, four, five. Okay. So yeah. So we've pretty much covered all the questions that she had on her poll. And like I said, I just wanted to go ahead and give my initial thoughts on these questions, speaking for myself and speaking as a man. Um, and I just kind of want to share it with you guys because it was a really good poll. She asked some really good questions, and I was hoping to get some feedback from her in regards to what her final results were from each of the questions, what the final tally was on all the answers submitted, and also get some feedback on where her thoughts were in regards to the answers from men to these particular questions, so that, we can kind of do I called it a ballad of minds, but basically just kind of share thoughts and share, the perspective from one side to the other. So I'll look forward to getting her on again. I'll try to set some things up, and we can actually have that true conversation. But I just didn't want to let this opportunity go to waste, and I really wanted to share this stuff with you guys. So one more time, sharing the first question was, does it matter if your woman works? The second question, which the results for that were 60% yes, 40% no. The second question on her poll was, do you want the prettiest woman? Do you want the prettiest woman in the room or the smartest woman in the room? The results of that was 29% said they would prefer the prettiest woman, while 71% said they would prefer the smartest woman. The third question was, will you date a woman that your friends aren't physically attracted to? The results on that was 88% said yes, they would, and 12% said no, they wouldn't. And the last question, I'm sorry, the fourth question was, do you care if your woman is opinionated? The results were um, 25% yes, 75% no. And then for the last question, it was, would you say most men care more about the physical than the mental part of a woman? And the results of that was 75% yes, 25% no. So you guys let me know what you think about that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and maybe we can do a follow-up video. All right. Until next time, I'm Mario Johnson. Thank you for tuning in to another Word to Be Heard. Have a great evening.